They refuse to accept even when it's pointed out, and they accept a fact. They'll actually just refuse to do anything with that. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I hear you. Chris, allow me to segue into pop culture and news,
Something
which is a
happier.
direct correlation to social media. Actually, it may not be, because when I wrote my top three or four important moments, and this instead of saying favorites, really more like important moments to you. Back in December, I wrote the following, and I said gun shootings, which surprised, it's still relevant, as recently as this weekend.
Mhm.
The Dave Chappelle stand up, which goes back to it talks about cancel culture and society as a whole. The Disney Fox merger, which more is into our lighter superhero or Marvel movies. What does that mean? And then college admission scandal. Those were the 3 to 4 impactful pop culture news items that I wrote for 2019. The gun shootings obviously being the biggest because it's something as it's just not going away. In fact, I wrote this December, the first week of December. We've had 2 shootings since I wrote this as one of my items here. The Dave Chappelle stand up, I know we touched upon it lightly when it came out in one of our earlier pods, but to me, it was going back to an original form of comedy that poked fun of people of all types, races, orientation, politics, observational humor, couples, way of life. And to me, just seeing the reaction by some on the left, some on the right, is just a slice of how our society is currently. Because something that would have been like a hallmark achievement in the '80s of like an Eddie Murphy type comedy, is still getting like flack from both sides, left and right. That stand up. The Disney Fox goes without saying. It's something to see what's going to happen with all the catalog that Fox had that was owned by Marvel, Silver Surfer, Galactus, Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four, etc. But also other things that Fox owned, like Avatar and The Simpsons, and all the Seth Green stuff. See what happens with Disney. Deadpool, that's another one.
Deadpool 3 announced. It's
Mm,
going to
It
be
is.
rated R.
nice.
Stop it.
Yeah, but it's
Stop
being
it.
done by Marvel Studios, right? So
Is it?
Marvel's doing it. Yep.
All right,
They're gonna
I'm
roll
gonna-
it into the MCU. Okay.
That's
That's
why
what it sounds like.
That's why I said the Green Lantern is now part of the MCU.
So, and then the last one was a college admission scandal. I mean, it's funny because I was able to share Christmas the day after Christmas dinner with my sister, her husband, and my nieces. One which is going to an Ivy League school. She's a sophomore now, and apparently next year one of the daughters of what's her name? The guy who's the moms who the one that the UCLA scandal one.
Right.
She's going to be at her school next year, so they're already talking about it on campus. And she's apparently was the daughter that went the right way. She got her grades. She didn't fabricate anything. So we talked about it, and I told her, listen, if I was in their position, I'd probably do the same. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I was trying to get my daughter in, and I heard Dr. Dre, who came out when this story became an issue, he was making fun of them. Meanwhile, his son's at UCLA, but he paid like a $10 million building for music and arts. I'm like, it's not quid pro quo, like the president quid pro quo, but you get something for something, like. So I think the college admission scandal is a bigger issue than some of us are really looking into it. So I put that as one of my top 4 items. What about you, Chris?
It's got to be the impeachment. That's
in politics. We'll get to that.
Yeah, let's save that for politics.
Yeah, that's the last one. Politics.
I'm
This
gonna
pop
let
culture
Mike.
news.
I'm gonna let Mike go because I don't know. I'm having trouble coming up with.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because it's hard to just think back of everything that happened this year. But I think for me, the top one would be Greta Thunberg
Oh,
Okay.
and
yeah.
her effect on
absolutely.
society.
Talk about an overreaction by people.
Yeah, whether you're with her or you're against her, it's been extreme pretty much. And and all she's trying to do is trying to save the planet,
Mm-hmm.
And it's always, oh well, she's being coerced and she's whatever. Yeah, so she had a big effect. Obviously, the president too. She was named Times Person of the Year, and the president didn't like that one bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you saw what he did. or his campaign did. They put his face on her body on the cover.
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
So-
I thought it was fan made.
Yeah.
Not fan made. I thought it was like someone made that.
No, it was put out by his campaign.
Yeah, I learned that afterwards.
How petty?
Hmm.
How petty is that? You
Kinda
know?
petty.
If there's a word you can describe, it's petty. Yes.
Yeah, I think another one that sticks out for me is like I don't even know if you call it a comeback, but this was like the year for Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
you know?
that's pop culture.
Like he was everywhere. Yeah, he was just everywhere this year, right?
Popping up at people's weddings.
Subway.
Like,
Yep.
yo, he's a cool dude, man. Like,
He
I
seems like-
want to have a beer with that guy.
I think all four of us know, but the audience who's listening, look up his life.
Mhm.
That dude went through some hardships and successes, obviously, but he's the real deal.
Yeah.
He is the real deal.
Yeah,
Mm.
I loved
Yeah.
his little cameo in that Netflix, the Asian comedy.
Yes,
with,
always
the guy from-
be
Yes.
my maybe.
Always Be My
Yeah.
Baby. Yes.
Yes.
Good movie.
and that was a
His
good show
cameo.
too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, good one.
Mhm.
All right, so Keith, pop culture news. Pop culture news.
Pop culture. Really, again, like stuff that wasn't mentioned, but I think was a big deal. The Jesse Smollett joint.
Oh yeah.
That was, to me, that's rolled into the Dave Chappelle stand up.
Nah, that's
He
totally
destroyed that dude.
that's totally different though. That's the fact that he did that. Like it was.
No, but where
it-
did we leave off? Because last time we left off, he didn't do it, and then he did it, and then they let him go, and they dropped the charges.
Yeah, I don't. It disappeared, but like I don't. Yo, that
So-
joint is
Someone
still.
paid someone.
That's. I mean, well, he didn't get his. They fired him, so like it kind of like I don't know who would pay him for what if you're gonna fire the dude anyway.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a tell-all book.
Right.
Yeah, that was such a weird situation, man. Like, and
Yeah.
man, like it, but it sounded weird from the beginning though. Like it definitely, yeah, for that to be so big and just so wrong. I think that was a very big social media deal, and the whole
Yeah, the problem is, and the strides we make for equality, things like this like take us back a step, you know?
Yeah, they get latched onto really hard.
like,
Right.
from a bunch of different angles. Like you're a black man, you're a gay,
You're a gay man,
you're a
yeah.
gay man, like.
Okay.
Like, and you use all of those tropes and lied about them, like in one act. Like it was
Yeah.
like, whose team are you on, bro? Like that just didn't make any sense. Like,
So all the struggle when we've been telling people, the cops are shooting unarmed black men, and then shit like this comes out, and then people are like, you're all fucking liars.
yeah, like you dilute the cause. Like
Right.
you're
Exactly.
crying wolf, and for what reason? Like you're famous, bro. Like what are you doing? What are you're risking? You just messed up your whole career off of this. Like what was the purpose? Like I don't even get it.
Yeah, me neither.
But there was that one.
Old Town Road.
That's fine.
Old
that,
Town Road.
that was a good social media topic. I know people
Yeah.
didn't like that song, but I enjoy it.
All right.
It's not my cup of tea. But...
Since let's stick with Keith here, and let's go into one of our final two topics, which this is going to be good for you, Keith. A lighter mood. Sports. What would you say is your
Raptors.
3 or 4 top moments in sports? Global, North American.
Well, I'm gonna have to say, like, yo, like the Raptors winning the chip, yo, like
God, that
like
was one of
I
my-
feel like it was a big moment that was kind of like it was very it was touched on, but it wasn't made a very big deal of. Like, yo, like this is that whole country's first chip. Like they're an expansion. They're
Yeah, we
they're,
didn't care.
Canada.
It
they're
was
an
all right.
expansion team. Like, did y'all even care there? Like, what? Like there's a big deal.
It wasn't hockey.
You know what it was? Everybody kept going around like, why are these guys not? Why don't they have hockey sticks? I don't get it.
Also, like, okay, so you guys don't mess with basketball.
No, we do. It's huge up here. Trust me. It was invented up
But
here.
hold on. Is
For
it
crying
only
out
huge in
loud.
Toronto or
To this
all in
day-
Canada? Hold on.
To
Is
this
it
day,
huge?
I don't understand why he would have left and went to Cali. I mean, I understand it's a good team, whatever this, that, and the other. He formed a good team, but like,
Yeah.
like yo, you
Strong,
could have
space
been the
strong.
king of a whole country and still been in the NBA.
Yep. I don't know why he did it
Like,
either, but
like to me, like the money that you just turned away from, like you were the biggest. You had to be one of the biggest stars in all of Canada.
yeah, but it was Canadian money, right? So it didn't really amount to anything.
I'm still very baffled.
Stop it.
I'm
No, that was NBA
Yeah, I
money.
know.
That was USD. Maybe taxes, you'd be paying double taxes. I don't know how that works,
Yeah.
but that was still.
I'm baffled. Like that's just. I mean, but forget the money that you're getting from the NBA. Like you're primed to actually take a whole country by storm.
Mm.
Like you marketing dollars. Like I'm endorsing everything. Like, are you serious? Like I'm the only guy
I
here
drink
in
that
this whole
too.
country, and I'm still in the U.S. NBA. Like it's like it was like it's almost the best of both worlds because I always used to say this. Like Marbury, I feel like he stumbled and bumbled himself into the perfect situation. Like he became like basketball Jordan of China. This dude like you capture 1% of a billion person market. That's like 100 million people. That's crazy. Like if I could get 1% of a market to buy my fucking shoe, I'm a billionaire. So imagine having that kind of pull. Plus, I mean, it's not a billion people in Canada. I get it, but like that kind of pull plus still being attached to the NBA market. Uh, I'm still baffled that he came back to this stateside. Like you're competing with other stars for even though you're top three player in the NBA, great, but you're really still competing with LeBron for attention. You're still competing with man. That didn't make any financial sense to me. But that's another social media moment.
Yeah.
I feel like the Raptors winning that chip was a very big deal, and it kind of like I feel like it opens up the NBA in a way that the NFL can't be.
All right. Do you have one or two others for this year? Sports, Keith?
Oh, and the Knicks, because they're awesome.
Are they still a thing?
Look, the Knicks have still to this day the largest NBA fan base. Take it or leave it. The Knicks leave, NBA is trash.
Oh man! All right, Mike. Going backwards towards Chris and me.
Oh, we're talking
Raptors.
sports.
Raptors.
He-
Wait, hold on,
pretty
Keith.
much the
You had
Raptors.
an extra one?
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry because I mean
Go ahead.
this is me. I actually wasn't prepared for this part, but like, the gymnast. What's her name?
Simone Biles.
Again, I think not enough of a big deal has been made about what her accomplishments were this year.
You're correct.
Yeah.
She had an entire move named after
Yeah,
her.
but in her sport, and no one cares. Like no one cares beyond it.
Well, that's because no one cares about certain sports until the Olympics.
Yes.
No one cares about track and field, swimming,
True.
or gymnastics
Until the
until we
Olympics.
win gold medals. It's like Americans.
But then she's like the most. She's like the most decorated, the most decorated like athlete this year. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy.
but she's doing these world events.
She's not even getting the endorsements you think she would get. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this is crazy. Like where's her Wheaties box? Like what's going down? Like why is this not all going down?
The female athlete of the year.
Why is it like it's crazy?
She beat
I
Serena
thought
Williams.
she had some right
People
after
don't
the
just have. People aren't just good enough every day or every year or every decade to have
That's true.
moves
She
named
just
after them.
The AP, that is
Right.
not Sports Illustrated, just gave her the 2019 Female Athlete of the Year over Serena.
And no one cares.
Well, over Serena and I'm surprised the soccer players. What's her
Megan
name?
Rapinoe, that was the other one.
He's been winning awards
Yeah,
too.
Megan was third.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that there was a decent amount of sports moments this year, and like I think women had a very big year in sports. I think Black women had a very very big year in sports. But yeah, it's funny though because I feel like their accomplishments, like, and I guess it might be just me being oversensitive or whatever, but I feel like a lot of those accomplishments were kind of like they were maybe like flashes of big deals at the moment, but they're not really the resounding big deals that they should be.
It should be.
So there was a tennis thing that just hit my brain. Takes me a
U.S.
second.
Open.
Naomi Osaka.
What?
Yes,
Crazy!
my girl.
And not even knowing
My
what
girl.
the other one who's 15.
She's 1 year younger than her. I forgot her name.
Yeah.
No, she's more than 1 year
You talking
younger.
about Bianca?
Naomi is 21 or 20.
No.
The chick is 15. The other one is literally like she had to get permission to even
Yeah, she-
get there.
Didn't she won the Australian
Yeah.
Open
Stefan, I
Championship
think her
in
name was.
2019.
No, that's Stephens.
Yeah, it's
No, that's
like I
not the one
said,
that Keith was
Naomi
thinking of. There was one
Osaka.
younger than her.
No,
Naomi
Naomi
was the one that
crushed.
crushed Serena last year, and
Oh, okay.
Listen, the girl who won the U.S.
Yeah.
Open is Bianca Andreescu from Canada. She's 19. She beat what's her name in the finals.
Yeah, because Serena beat Naomi this year, I think.
Naomi, she beat Naomi in the
No,
finals?
she
Or
beat
Last
Serena.
year, she
Serena?
won.
okay.
yeah, she did.
Because Naomi beat Serena last year, and then the other girl beat her. Okay,
Golf.
all right. Yeah, I don't follow
Corey
enough
Goff.
to know
Yes,
what
yes.
year.
That's who beat Serena this year, and she's like 13.
No,
Yeah, from Atlanta.
he was
not
talking
from
about
Canada.
somebody else.
I'm
The
trying to
one who
take credit.
actually won. Bianca,
No, I'm
Bianca something or another.
What are you talking? I'm talking about somebody
Oh,
else.
yeah,
The one who
yeah.
actually won the U.S. Open.
Just
Yeah,
making sure. Yeah, I remember
Andrea
her mom
Eskew.
was out there. Her mom.
yeah,
was
she's
waving
from
the
she's
flag.
from my neck of the woods here.
Not country. All right, so Mike, speaking of your country,
True. Canada did have some big wins
It was-
this year.
You know, it was a good year for Canada sports, man. Yeah.
You guys getting an NFL team?
Are you gonna take Tom Brady from us for a while?
Nah, you can have them. We don't want them.
so you got anything else, Mike?
And the only other thing was the Women's World Cup, which U.S. Won again.
Yeah, that's
that's
one of my. I got that one.
Yeah, and their fight for equal pay, which I think they got or they were close to getting.
Still
which I hope
hasn't
they
been
get.
finalized. Nope.
Yeah, but I hope they do.
Which is getting worse now because it's been like 5 months since, so like the buzz isn't as strong, so they're losing negotiation power.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the big question of so the men are losers in a bigger market, where the women are winners in a much
smaller market. And it's a sad truth of it. Like there's other things besides like unwillingness to pay you that's involved. Like people aren't watching.
They don't want to pay them anyway. That's the problem. Is you can't.
But they don't want to pay the men either. They like these dudes that own these teams. Like you think they want to pay anyone?
We'll get to that about the smaller versus larger market because they're one of my 3 moments. But their ratings on the Women's World Cup was 22% higher than the men's final.
The problem is up until now and I think they should have equal pay because they drive stuff in the U.S. But the problem is that the Men's World Cup by itself garners so much attention around the world, minus the USA,
it's the biggest in the world. It's the number one sport in the world.
That a lot of their money just comes from being a participant in.
Correct.
Basically, so
people want to complain.
Yeah, but the U.S. doesn't make the cup most of the time. U.S. men don't make the cup.
But they're part of a bigger pot of money, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So if people are complaining about these ladies not getting the money, but they aren't watching in the same numbers that they're watching the men's lose. Like, so I don't understand how you could complain and simultaneously not understand how this whole thing works.
Well, it's women's sports in general. If you look at the watch numbers,
yeah, exactly.
It's a sad state of things that because women's MMA, women's soccer, women's tennis is all more exciting in the U.S. than the men's. I don't know. Well, I'll take the MMA out of that. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you. I was like, women's MMA. I kind of actually prefer the brutality of men's MMA.
No, right. No, I mean,
I don't really like seeing women get
But the tennis and the soccer, I find, am I wrong that the U.S. tends to, or is that just because they win more? I don't know.
Yeah, the women's soccer wins more than the men's soccer.
Yes,
but like
more.
tennis.
But I'm also say that the men's soccer actually has a more difficult league than the women's soccer.
Right, and that comes from the fact that the world has not let women participate.
Exactly.
In
so a lot of it is new for a lot of countries.
So once I think as the women, and if we
wanted
to,
slaughter.
Well, and this is where you say, okay, if you're a winning country like the U.S., and you are on a burgeoning market about something, you say, why don't we put the money towards this and expand the competition in the places? Because unfortunately there are some places around the world that aren't going to latch onto it as others will, but you can be the leader for a long time and expand this market and get people involved. And as the US, we should be doing that. they don't see it that way. They just see it as women icky, I think.
All right. So, Chris, you didn't get a chance to really chime in on what you're
Speaking
thinking.
of, just want to chime in on UFC real quick. I was very glad this year to see Colby Covington get his ass handed to him.
That's top moment in sports for you. There you go.
Oh,
there you
man.
go. All right, Chris, you're up.
I'm mostly a football sports guy. I've kind of let a lot of the other sports slip by. So,
congrats on your Bills.
No, I'm
Bears.
A Bears fan,
Bears
man,
didn't make it. Yeah, I forgot.
Last year. Yeah, so last year was my year. This year was a bad year for me. But you know, I live in a place. I live near the Buffalo area, and so having the Patriots lose to the Dolphins kind of sent everybody in a freak out mode. And see, you did it to me. And the Bills making the playoffs with the first 10-win season since 1999 really kind of made the whole area light up. As for anything else really exciting sports-wise, I guess we've talked about Simone Biles and we've talked about some of the other fun stuff was more cultural, not for me personally. So that's really all I got for you. Just
he sounds defeated.
Long story short,
he sounds defeated. Well, all right.
An 8-8 season, man, isn't going to do anything.
I hear you. So let me bring up the rear. I'm going to finish off the sports column, and then I'll start off that last section for the night. Sports. So you mentioned the USA women's soccer. I'm not going to beat that to death. You mentioned NBA Finals. For me, it was not just the Toronto Raptors winning, but also the destruction of the Golden State Warriors team, from KD playing to Klay Thompson going out to a lot of things are happening. So that to me was
such a blessing in disguise for them.
I know, man. Freaking KD.
Oh my God! Like that's the Warriors situation right now. What cats don't realize, like, it's a blessing in disguise for them. Like they actually these injuries are going to put them in a position to get a lottery pick.
Yeah.
And these guys are young vets, and they're all coming back next season. So that means they're coming back next season with a high lottery pick.
Yeah.
It's almost unfair.
That's true. That is true.
Unfair. Like it almost ends up like where if they were all healthy through the playoffs and maybe won one last chip, cool. It would have put them in a position to actually be beat over the next 4 or 5 years. Now they're actually coming back stronger next year, so they've got another 5-year refresh. And these dudes aren't even old vets. That shit pisses me off.
My last sports moment, and no one really talked about it, but I know to me it was very momentous, was Tiger Woods' comeback in the Masters back in April. If anyone who watched that, I mean, obviously we know Tiger's story. He was a LeBron of the era, actually bigger than that.
Bigger.
Then through personal issues, he fell. Physically, he fell. Then emotionally, he fell. Psychologically, he fell. The dude just went as deep you can go. No one thought he'd come back in golf, and then he started coming back. He was having a lot of terrible outings, and then he came close once, won a small tournament. And then everything was set up for this Masters, and no one thought he was going to win. And he was still behind going to maybe the 13th or 14th hole. And then that last hole, when he knew that he was going to win, and you see the crowd of thousands that were coming down that green with him, it was unbelievable. And then as he walked off the field after his last shot, first person he hugged was his son, who came in and he was crying, hugged each other. That almost brought a tear in my eye just seeing that. And then we have to switch into politics. Really three things for me. Yeah.
Hey, hang on. Before we do that, I just want to mention one last thing in pop culture that I thought that really made me happy this year, and that was R. Kelly being brought to justice.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that.
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah, that's a big one because I've been screaming about that one. I've been screaming about that one for years.
What I found interesting though is the cancer culture came through finally and removed. I mean, they went too far, but yeah, his songs and everything got removed, and they acted swiftly.
Oh, they still play him on XM. I get mad every time.
I don't think they went too far at all, but But his comeuppance, it's been high time for his
Yeah,
comeuppance. Like that's
yeah,
crazy, and we all know the story. Like I've seen that videotape. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, we talk about cancel culture, but people still won't stop listening to
The
someone's
like people
music
are bullied
or
into
art.
canceling other people because he should have been
Yeah.
canceled a long time ago. When that happened, yo, I heard crazy stuff. You'd listen to the radio and I'd hear grown women calling to the radio talking about that girl was a slut and that she knew what she was doing. So why is he
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
canceled now? That's always been
yeah,
my
and that,
question. That's always been my question. We defended him. I hated that's a black mark on I think black people in
mm,
America for that's staying forever. You
yeah,
never go I would never defend that. And we defended him. Like he was some sort of like martyr or something like okay, you like Step in the Name of Love, that's awesome, but the dude is a pedophile.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
proven many
So
times over.
that should lead us into our politics for
Yeah, so for
Jim.
me, my three, I know we're just getting darker and darker here.
Yeah, I know.
It's really the
Oh God.
impeachment, Brett Kavanaugh, and then the Democratic
Mhm.
debates. Those are my three
Brett Kavanaugh.
impactful moments. Oh yeah,
I
remember
don't
that?
even
That was a hot.
yeah, that was a flash in the pan. I feel like that doesn't even make my top 3 moments at all. Like
You know
But
why?
but speaking of
To me,
sexual
it's more just
predators,
flash in the pan. It's because, well, that's one. Two,
yeah,
you got to see the power of the the right wing and the
mm,
president when they
yeah,
want to force something. And that's when I remember we having this debate, me, you, Keith, and my sister about certain politics. And I'm like, you guys don't get it. This Mueller thing's not going to result in anything. Neither is this because you're seeing how he's flexing
hmm,
hard, and he's winning. The only thing that can stop this dude is election. Go out and vote.
like Keenan Thompson said, ain't nothing gonna happen.
Yeah, no impeachment, none of this stuff. That's when I realized it. That's when it became very obvious to me. That's why I kept that as one of my top 3 moments. And then the Democrat debates to me, which is still ongoing. I like something that Mike
Mm.
mentioned in one of the earlier podcasts. He goes, "Yeah, the Canadians had a whole campaign and they voted and elected somebody between the second and third Democratic debates."
Yeah,
I was like, "Holy shit, he's got a point there." So,
yeah.
Chris, you're up.
The problem stems from money in politics, right?
Yep, Chris, I'll put you in the spot.
So,
Politics.
Well, yeah. Now, so unfortunately, I don't. What we could do is go around the world and find all the people who have been killed, and it's horrible to not want to do that because it's important. But I think we have the burning
Yeah, I
rainforest. You
remember
guys
that
remember
story.
that story?
hmm
yeah, Brazil, man.
Brazil was on
Yeah,
fire, and everybody was like, but then in the same breath, Notre Dame caught on fire, and
yeah,
Americans went to
I had
work
guys I
sending money
work
all
with.
over the
Ah,
They were
place.
talking
no,
about
no, no,
that
no,
in the
no. Those
ceremony.
weren't the two. Those weren't the two at the same time. It was the church bombing. It was the church bombing, the black church that got blown up down south. It happened
Mm.
right before the Notre Dame the Notre Dame fire, and that's what the similes that people were making between that and that church bombing. Like nobody cared about the church bombing and oh like we're gonna get donations and rebuild the church this that and the other, but like that church that actually none of the artwork got damaged. The structure can be rebuilt. Like everybody got on that ASAP.
No, I'm trying to look.
Yeah, Notre Dame received more aid than the Amazon
Because I
fires.
thought
It
those
happened
were
maybe
also
not the
happening.
exact same time. I think the Black Church happened a week, but yeah, it was the same Brazil rainforest was happening.
Yeah, they're all around the same time.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, yeah. That basically what people in America wanted to save the church and didn't give a shit about anything else. It was kind of sad to see.
yeah. I was a little upset about
Like
that
it was
too.
getting American donations more than it was like that was
Yeah,
crazy to me. But it's crazy, but it's also the very open slap in the face that we as black people continuously get here.
Well,
mm,
and also the fact that we still haven't, fixed our own Puerto Rico. We still haven't.
Is that a U.S.
Sorry.
territory?
Yeah.
You would think so.
Apparently, people keep forgetting that, and so are ignoring
Some
Puerto
people need to
Rico.
feel that. Like certain people who are in certain parts of this country who happen to lean a certain way don't even know that. I mean, that's just ignorance. Period.
Mhm.
Forget about.
In my travels, one of the things that I
Yeah.
realized that people outside of this country think about Americans is that we are generally person to person ill informed, even about our own country, and I happen to find them very correct.
Mhm. Okay, and the two others who are both China related. So we have our wonderful president started a trade war with China, and it has caused ripple effects throughout our economy, with the bailouts of farmers and massive amounts of farmers having to go into bankruptcy, and also the Hong Kong protests.
Gotcha. Very good. Hey, Mike, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I think just the big thing for me was the impeachment, and I'm glad Congress, the House, did it. I have to agree. I don't think anything's going to happen in the Senate, not while Mitch controls the Senate.
Nope.
If they hold off the articles as long as they can before they hand them off, I'm okay with that. It's like a thorn in the side to Trump. So, other than that, yeah, I mean, there was a lot happening this year, right? So I don't even know what.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing happy.
Nah.
I feel like I know this is a podcast about. We try to use our entertainment, our fun, our comic books, our TV, to bring us up, because a lot of this other stuff, I don't feel there's a lot of positive side to it. As you can hear.
No, like the main thing,
Facts.
what I like to do at the end of the year is ask, have we progressed as a society? Have we moved forward? I mean,
No.
look at all the shootings this year, and still nothing has been done to alleviate the issue. And we all know what to do to solve the problem. People just won't do it, right?
Well, yeah, and they keep moving money from the poorer people to the richer people, and not helping anybody else, and
Exactly.
it's showing and not going anywhere. And you're right, Mike, about society moving forward. I feel we're, if not moving backwards, we're just dead stop.
We can only do one thing at a time, it looks like.
It seems that way sometimes, and I thought we were making progress a few years ago.
Maybe Elon Musk will find a way to get us to the moon of Jupiter, and we can hang out in Mr. Manhattan's Mr. Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan.
Yo, Elon Musk will soon reveal himself as Lex Luthor. Watch.
Ugh,
All right,
that's
Mike,
really
hey,
depressing.
Is that it? Move on to Keith. Politics, man.
Yeah.
End this off, Keith.
Man, I don't see how anybody doesn't pick Trump. And this impeachment thing is the biggest story politically of the year. But I also feel like it's a rolling story. I almost feel like it sucks when it's happening, but like it's almost like he's forced it to happen.
Keith, hang on a second, because the whole thing with Ukraine was not even one of the biggest deals. Like his foundation got convicted of defrauding money, millions of dollars from his foundation that was supposed to go to charity. They kept the money, and they
to the point that his judge sister had to resign.
Yeah, so I mean that wasn't the Ukraine thing. Wasn't even the biggest thing that happened this year. That we wasn't it this year? Was it this year or that last year that we found out he was paying Stormy hush money?
Oh, that was that was last year. That was before the meal.
Yeah, I didn't remember if it was last year or that Cohen was testifying that I was paying her hush money in front of Congress. So my point is like, yeah, the impeachment was big, but like a lot of it just
feels like it's going nowhere.
No, it's just like it's not the only thing that he's done, this year. That's terrible. It's just so much. I don't know. Go on, Keith. Sorry, man. It's just very frustrating,
I feel like this is a very big eye-opening year for what our thoughts were about the political process. I'm looking at the Republican Party, not to say I was, pleased with them or happy with them before, but like, at least I thought like, okay, like these were just like stiff white people who were all about like, rule of law and this, that, and the other. Now it don't even seem like it's that. So really like this is just a Crips and Blood situation. Like I don't understand like if we have stuff on the books, like how do you just get around all the stuff that's on the books?
Power, retaining power.
I mean, I understand that, but like it seems like it's retaining power on the back on on the foundation of something that's not even there. Because if all this stuff is built on laws that are written, and like he could just not do anything that's prescribed, like what does that mean going forward? Like what, like does he have to leave? Does he have to leave office if he loses? Like does he, like what can you force the president to do? Like when can you call the police and be like, yo, like this dude, like when? What point?
Well, what we found out is that leaving things up to, hey, we do this because we're nice to each other, or we don't do this because that's, you can't just say that. You have to set up actual rules with actual consequences.
Consequences.
The fact that the president of the United States can walk up to a podium and lie to the American people straight out for 2 hours and not have anything happen, there's a problem, right? There's got to be something somewhere.
Yeah,
I actually feel like this is actually a time we're living in it, and it sucks. But I think that we're going to see a drastic amount of change that's going to come after this.
The presidential powers.
Yep.
Yeah, but it won't happen until after the person who's trying to take the powers is
Oh,
gone.
possibly,
That's the problem.
definitely. But they have to know that this situation can't persist. Like at some point, a Democrat's going to be in power. Like you know what I'm saying? So like
that's when they'll put reins on it.
It's coming ASAP. I guarantee you, it's coming ASAP after this presidency. ASAP.
it depends on.
They don't want to do it now. They don't want to do it now because there's a hope that they could still retain power.
The problem is it depends on who that Democrat is also, because not all the Democrats. Let me put it to you this way: you have a lot of Democrats that love taking that corporate money still. So as long as they keep getting that corporate money, they will do what the corporations tell them to do.
Trump has exposed way too many holes in the presidential power, though. There's no way that this can persist.
If you think about
no way.
Mitch McConnell has done as much as Trump has, because Mitch McConnell is the stopgap. And if he had actually done his job and gone, oh, this isn't supposed to happen, we're going to put I mean, they've done it like 3 or 4 times, very few, on stuff they actually didn't like. They actually sent Ukraine money. It was supposed to go.
When they pulled out of was it Syria? Where did they pull out? They were like, our guys are getting beaten up here. Me too.
Yeah, out of Ukraine.
Was
right?
it Ukraine? For some reason I'm thinking Syria.
Yeah.
But...
No. Oh, it was you're right. It was something else. So they actually put the whatchamacallits on Russia. What do you call it when you stop their money from flowing?
Oh, sanctions.
What's the word? Yeah, they actually put sanctions on Russia, and they kind of forced Trump to sign it, even though he didn't want to. So when they want to, they can do something, but they don't want to because other stuff is going in their favor. All right, so let's do our most favorite moments of 2019. James, go right ahead.
Establishing this podcast.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
All right.
Next.
Can I say a rule? This is not a family thing, because the family most important and our most favorite, least favorite, I think we got to say things more related to the podcast than about our families. Because my son graduated this year, so that's going to top it up. So, yeah. So, James, you said this podcast.
Yes,
which is
I'm sticking by that.
Different than you wrote down.
What did I write down again? Oh, watching Avengers Endgame. Yeah, I did. I wrote down watching the Avengers movie. Yeah, it's a tie.
Yeah, I actually said releasing our first when we actually published the first one.
There you go. Look at that.
That was mine.
That's good. Mike?
Oh, this is all related to the podcast?
No.
No, it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be.
be.
I just created that. Mike?
Yeah, I'm here.
Your favorite moment of 2019?
So it's got to be Kwame's shot in Game 7 to win the game.
Kwame or Kawhi?
Kawhi.
Sorry.
That is a cold open.
Sorry, guys. I'm
That is
tired.
a cold open.
No,
Yeah.
no polka dots on that, dude.
Yeah.
Kwame.
Is Mike
That's
Mike,
a name I
smoking
haven't heard
again
in a
on
while.
the podcast.
No,
All
I
right,
need
Keith.
to. No, the problem is I'm not. It's been 3 hours.
Keith, what was your favorite moment of 2019?
Man, you brought up that shot though. Like that was actually but it's not the shot in the finals. It's not a shot in the finals. It was in the Eastern. Well, in the Eastern.
In the conference. It's in the
Eastern
conference finals. Yeah.
When he made that shot, because it wasn't even the last game. It was the second to last game. When he made that shot, and that joint rolled.
No, that was the last game. That was the clincher, series clincher.
No, dude, he did it twice. He did it twice.
Oh, he did it
twice. He did one in Game 6.
He did it twice. That's the amazing
Yeah, he did
part
one
of
in
it.
Game 6, and then the one in Game 7 was fantastic.
How do you make?
Because it just bounced.
How do you
bounced
make?
for a bit, and
how do you make accident?
everybody was like,
natural?
"Oh my god!" Yeah,
he did it twice. That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the second, but I mean that was a very big moment for me. But like to me, I thought like what, and I'm actually just sticking with sports actually. But like when I realized that like all of the stars in Golden State had to go down for like the Rockets for the Raptors to win. That like I've never seen anything like that in any NBA.
Dude, that Clay
ever.
6 game
like
just broke me. He was about to go out there on
I was like
ACL
it's destined. It's obviously destined for them to win. Like fate is straight cracking your shins in half. Like what is going on?
All right, Chris.
Right. Yeah, I said what my most favorite moment.
Oh, you did. All right. So this least favorite moment, Keith.
Least favorite moment. John Wick 3.
Oh, damn.
John Wick 3. That bullshit.
All right, Mike?
I don't know. I don't know if I have a least favorite. Every time there's a mass shooting, it's least favorite for me, right? So we've had too many of those. So yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's just like the problem is it's not like, if there was a volcano and people died or an earthquake and people died, I'm like, okay, those things happen. What can you do? But this is something.
These are very avoidable.
Yeah, we can do something about this, and we just don't. So that's why it's the low for me.
Remember when we had the podcast after that one shooting, and we were asking each other like what needs to be done. And I was telling you like, nothing's going to be done.
Yeah,
here we are.
Exactly.
Wow,
Chris.
Okay, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna say, panning Rise of Skywalker was my worst.
Oh.
The fact that acknowledging that James was right and that this was not a trilogy. Even with liking individual parts, knowing that together they don't make anything, and seeing Rise of Skywalker fail so hard for me was really depressing.
Oh man, that was.
So Luke Skywalker said it best in The Last Jedi. He said, "This is not going to go the way you think."
And I'm just every day I'm poking new holes in the damn thing. So I got
my least favorite. My least favorite moment was after I watched Rise of Skywalker, thinking, "Oh man, Chris is gonna fucking burn," and I posted immediately before I even left the theater. I was like, "The best part of this movie was the damn rolling credits." So that's my least favorite moment. Was feeling what you're about to feel when I walked out the movie theater. All right, this is it, guys.
Well, that wasn't it.
Huh? We're gonna talk about 2020 thoughts. But we're not. We're gonna save that for our end of the decade pod. We can talk about 2020 as part of it because that'll be 2020 then.
Yeah, let's do that. We should open with that. Let's open with our thoughts on 2020 and then talk about the decade.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you. 2019's been pretty amazing. If we take politics out of the world, and all the negativity and that kind of stuff, but I've enjoyed the podcast. I've enjoyed hanging with you, and
that was a high for me this year. We started a podcast,
right. Telling the world our opinions, because as I've said before, I've been speaking and telling opinions my entire life, and I finally get to record them. So
There you go.
it's been a highlight, and Happy New Year. Thank you for 2019.
Thank you, Chris, for moderating and putting all this
All
together.
right, thank you, guys.
Mike, for doing all the behind-the-scenes tech stuff, the software, all that stuff. Keith, for your intuition and advice and thoughts here and there. Much appreciated. As my son's walking in, I guess that's time for me to. Eric, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
What's up, Eric?
Take us out, Chris.
All right, everyone. Good night.
Good night,
And
everybody.
that's
And
so
don't log
proud.
off until.
Yep.
Buddy Tone here says you gotta put your behind in your pants.